Chosen ones, 3 sacred reasons your childhood hardships were not random. There are moments in life when we sit alone, staring at the ceiling, asking a question that echoes into the depths of our soul. Why did I have to go through all of that? The pain, the loneliness, the feeling of being different, the struggles that shaped us but also left wounds. And yet, deep down, you sense that there is something more, that your suffering was not random, that somehow, in some mysterious way, everything you endured was meant to forge you into something greater. The truth is, if you have ever felt like the weight of the world was placed upon you, if you have ever felt like life was testing you more than others, then you are not broken, you are chosen. There is a secret that few understand. The universe does not randomly assign suffering. Hardships are not given to the weak. They are entrusted to those who have the potential to transform them into wisdom, strength, and purpose. If you are watching this, you are likely one of them, the chosen ones. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. You were never meant to blend in, to follow the crowd, to find comfort in the illusions that keep most people asleep. No, your path was always going to be different.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
But the question remains, why did your childhood hardships happen in the way they did? What was the deeper meaning behind your suffering? The answer lies in 3 sacred reasons, 3 universal principles that explain why your past was not a mistake, but a necessary initiation. The first sacred reason is the refining fire. Your pain was a sacred purification. Every chosen one goes through a process that is not unlike the way gold is purified. When gold is first extracted from the earth, it is mixed with impurities. It does not shine. It does not yet hold its highest value. The only way to make it pure is to expose it to extreme heat, the kind of heat that melts away everything that is not gold. Your childhood was that fire. Every heartbreak, every moment of rejection, every instance where you felt unseen or unheard was part of this purification. But here is what they don't tell you. Suffering alone does not transform you. It is how you interpret your suffering that determines whether you become bitter or enlightened. Think back to your hardest moments, the times when you questioned whether you even belonged in this world, the times when you felt like no one could understand you. Now, ask yourself, what did those experiences teach you? Did they make you more compassionate? Did they make you more resilient? Did they sharpen your ability to see through deception, to read people's true intentions, to sense energy in a way that others cannot? If you are honest with yourself, you will realize that the very things that once broke you also built you. The fire did not destroy you, it refined you. But why would the universe put you through such an intense process? Why would you have to suffer while others seem to have an easier path? This brings us to the second sacred reason, the hidden training. Your struggles were preparing you for a greater mission. Most people live their lives on autopilot. They follow the paths laid out for them without questioning. They seek comfort, not truth. They are not meant to shake the foundations of reality, but you were never meant for that kind of existence. If you felt like an outsider growing up, if you felt like you didn't fit in, it's because you were never meant to. You were being prepared for something greater. Every hardship you faced was training you, even if you didn't realize it at the time. When you were abandoned, you learned self-reliance. When you faced betrayal, you learned discernment. When you were forced to fight for yourself, You discovered a strength within you that most will never know. Look at your life now. Look at the way you think, the way you move through the world. Do you see how different you are, how much deeper your understanding is compared to those who have never had to struggle? That is not an accident. That is the result of your training. But here's the part that most people miss. The training is not for you alone, it is so you can guide others. Think about it. Who do people turn to when they are lost? Who do they seek when they need wisdom? When they need someone who truly understands their pain? They don't go to those who have had an easy life, they go to those who have been through the fire and survived. They go to those who have transformed their suffering into wisdom. That is why you went through what you did. Because one day you will meet someone who is drowning in the same pain you once endured, and you will be able to look them in the eyes and say, "I know what you're feeling, I've been there, and I made it through." But there is one final sacred reason that ties everything together, the deepest truth of them all. The awakening. Your pain was the key to remembering who you truly are. Most people live their lives asleep. They get caught up in the illusions of the world, chasing money, status, validation, never realizing that they are far more than they have been told. But suffering has a unique power. It forces you to wake up. When everything is taken from you, when you are left with nothing but yourself, you are given a rare opportunity to see beyond the illusion. Think back to the moments when you were at your lowest, when life stripped away everything you once held on to. What did you discover in those moments? Did you not feel a strange sense of clarity, a realization that nothing external could ever define you, that the world's opinions, the labels, the expectations, they were never real to begin with? That is the gift hidden within suffering. It shatters the illusions and forces you to remember who you truly are. And here is the most powerful truth of all. The moment you stop seeing your past as a curse and start seeing it as a sacred initiation, your entire reality will shift. You will no longer ask, "Why did this happen to me?" Instead, you will ask, "What was this trying to teach me?" And in that moment, you will reclaim your power. So now, I leave you with a question, one that only you can answer. What if everything you went through was never meant to break you, but to awaken you? The divine puzzle, how every piece of your pain was preparing you for something greater. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when they begin to see the patterns, when the seemingly disconnected events of their past start to form a picture far greater than they could have ever imagined. It is like stepping back from a puzzle you have been assembling blindly, only to realize that every single piece, every painful experience, every moment of doubt was part of an intricate design, a design that was never random, a design that was shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. Think about it. Look back at your childhood, the loneliness, the misunderstandings, the struggles that seemed unfair. What if those exact moments were the reason you developed the depth of thought you have now? What if the absence of love taught you how to find it within yourself? What if feeling unseen trained you to see others in ways that most people never will? The world conditions people to see suffering as something to be avoided, as a mistake, as something unfair. But what if suffering, when understood correctly, is actually the most powerful initiation a soul can go through? What if it was never meant to destroy you, but to strip away everything false, everything weak, everything that was never truly you? There is a reason why the strongest souls come from the hardest lives. The universe does not waste pain. It does not place burdens on those who are not capable of carrying them. If you endured more than most, It is because you are meant to become more than most. But the real question is, how will you interpret your story? Because that decision, above all else, determines the person you will become. Most people remain trapped in their past because they tell themselves the wrong story. They see themselves as victims of circumstances, casualties of fate. They let their pain define them. But the chosen ones, the ones who rise, see their past differently. They understand that every hardship was a lesson, every betrayal was a redirection, every loss was making space for something greater. They do not dwell in resentment. They transform their wounds into wisdom. And once you make that shift, once you decide to see your past as a sacred blueprint rather than a series of unfortunate events, everything changes. Have you ever noticed that the people who have truly seen darkness, who have faced real suffering, often have an aura about them, a presence, a depth? It is because they have gone through the fire and emerged with something that cannot be taught, an unshakable inner knowing. They no longer fear the world in the way most people do because they have already seen what is on the other side of pain. They have already faced the things that others try to avoid at all costs. And in doing so, they have become something rare, someone who cannot be broken, not because they have never suffered, but because they have suffered and chosen to rise anyway. You might not realize it yet, but you have been developing something that will become your greatest gift, the ability to endure, to see beyond the surface, to navigate life with an awareness that most people never achieve. And this ability, this depth, is what will set you apart. It is what will allow you to break free from the illusions that keep most people trapped. It is what will enable you to step into your true power. But here is where many chosen ones go wrong. They stay stuck in their suffering. They hold on to their pain as if it still defines them, even when they have outgrown it. They wear their wounds like armor, afraid to let them go because they believe their suffering is what makes them special. But the truth is, you were never meant to carry your pain forever. You were meant to transcend it, to take the lessons, the wisdom, the strength, and then release the rest. So ask yourself, am I still holding on to my past in a way that is limiting me? Have I been using my hardships as a reason to stay small, to stay guarded, to stay in survival mode even though I am no longer in danger? Have I been identifying so much with my suffering that I have forgotten that I am more than what has happened to me? Because the moment you decide to let go, not to forget, not to erase, but to release the weight of it, you will feel something shift inside of you. You will begin to see your past not as a burden, but as the foundation upon which your greatest self is built. And that is when true transformation begins. The universe has been waiting for you to realize this, to see that you were never cursed, you were chosen, you were never abandoned, you were set apart, you were never broken. You were being rebuilt into something stronger, something unstoppable. And now you face the most important choice of all. Will you continue to see your past as something that happened to you? Because the truth is, you were never just a survivor. You were always meant to be something far greater. But only you can decide when you are ready to step into that realization. Only you can choose to finally claim the power that has been waiting for you all along. The alchemy of suffering. How your hardships were the key to unlocking your true power. There is a secret that only those who have walked through the fires of suffering truly understand. Pain, when properly understood, is not just something to endure. It is something to transform. It is raw energy, waiting to be alchemized into wisdom, strength, and purpose. The greatest mistake people make is believing that suffering is meaningless, that it is just an unfortunate accident of life. But this is an illusion. The universe is far too intelligent to waste energy, far too precise to make mistakes. If you experience deep hardship, it is because there was something within you that needed to be awakened, something that could not emerge through comfort alone. Look at the people who have changed the world, the ones whose wisdom transcends generations. Do you think they were shaped by easy, peaceful lives? Or do you think they were forged through struggle, through pain, through an existence that forced them to confront the deepest parts of themselves? There is a reason why the most enlightened souls have often endured the most suffering, because suffering, when met with awareness, burns away the illusions, the ego, the false identities that keep most people asleep. It strips you down to your core and forces you to ask the questions that truly matter. Who am I beyond my pain? What is left when everything I once clung to is taken away? What is my purpose now that I have survived what was meant to break me? Most people run from these questions. They distract themselves, numb themselves, do anything to avoid facing the deeper truths of their existence. But the chosen ones, the ones who are meant for something greater, do the opposite. They turn inward. They sit with the pain. They listen to what it is trying to teach them. And in doing so, they begin to realize something extraordinary. Pain was never the enemy. Pain was the teacher, the guide, the force that was pushing them toward their true power all along. Think back to the moments in your life when you were at your lowest, when you felt lost, broken, uncertain if you would ever find your way again. And yet here you are, stronger, wiser, more aware than you ever were before. Did you ever stop to consider that perhaps those moments were not meant to destroy you, but to rebuild you into something far greater, that perhaps without those experiences, you would not possess the depth, the understanding, the resilience that you do now? This is the alchemy of suffering, the ability to take what was meant to harm you and turn it into the very thing that empowers you. But here's the part that most people don't realize. Transformation is not automatic. Just because you have suffered does not mean you will grow. Just because you have been through hardship does not mean you will awaken. That choice is yours. That responsibility is yours. There are many people who suffer and become bitter, who let their pain harden them, who spend their lives blaming the past instead of using it as fuel to create something new. The chosen ones, however, do something different. They take their suffering and turn it into purpose. They take their wounds and turn them into wisdom. They take their struggles and use them as a foundation to build something unbreakable. You might not realize it yet, but within you is the ability to turn every painful experience into something powerful, to take every scar and wear it as proof of what you have overcome rather than as a reminder of what hurt you. The universe has been whispering this truth to you for years. Through every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment of solitude, you are not meant to stay in the pain. You are meant to rise from it. But the question remains, will you? Because here is the truth that will change everything once you accept it. Your past does not define you. Your pain does not define you. What defines you is what you choose to do with it. You can carry it as a burden, or you can use it as fuel. You can let it weigh you down, or you can let it lift you into a new version of yourself. The choice is yours. It has always been yours. So the real question is, What will you do with everything you have been through? Will you let it break you? Or will you finally decide that it was all part of something greater, that every hardship, every moment of suffering was not a punishment, but a preparation? That everything you endured was shaping you into the person you were always meant to become? Because the moment you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "How can I use this?" that is the moment your entire life will change. That is the moment you will step into your true power, and that is the moment you will realize that you were never just a survivor. You were always meant to be something far greater. The prophecy of your pain, how your hardships were the map to your destiny. There is a moment in every chosen one's life when they finally understand, when they look back at everything they have endured and see it not as a chaotic series of misfortunes, but as a prophecy unfolding, a carefully designed map leading them toward their destiny. It is the moment when you realize that nothing was ever random, that every wound you suffered was carving a path only you could walk, that you are never just another person lost in the world. You were always meant to be something more. You were never meant for an ordinary life. You were never meant to fit comfortably into the world as it is. That is why you struggled so much as a child, why you felt different, why the things that seemed to satisfy others never truly fulfilled you. It is because your soul was always searching for something deeper, something real, something beyond the illusions that most people spend their entire lives chasing. And the hardships you faced, they were the initiation, the training, the preparation for the path that only you can walk. But the most important revelation of all is this: your suffering was not just about you. It was never just about your personal growth, your individual transformation. The deepest truth, the one that will change everything once you fully accept it, is that your journey was meant to prepare you to guide others. The wisdom you have gained, the strength you have built, the depth of understanding you now possess, these are not just for you. They are for the people you are destined to help, the souls you are meant to awaken, the lives you are meant to change simply by being who you were always meant to be. Think about it. Who do people turn to when they are lost? Who do they seek when they are drowning in pain, when they need someone who truly understands? They do not go to those who have lived easy lives, who have never questioned, never suffered, never been broken. No, they go to the ones who have walked through the darkness and found their way back. They go to the ones who have faced the storms and emerged stronger. And that, whether you realize it yet or not, is who you are becoming. But here is the final choice you must make. Will you accept this calling? Will you embrace the truth that you were never meant to live a small, ordinary life? That your hardships were not curses but signs of your purpose? Because the moment you do, everything will shift. The weight of your past will no longer feel like a burden. It will feel like fuel. The pain that once held you back will become the very thing that propels you forward, and the confusion, the doubt, the lingering question of why me will transform into the realization that it was always you. Because only you could walk this path. Only you could survive what you did and turn it into something greater. So now, as you stand at the edge of this realization, ask yourself, am I ready to step into the life I was always meant to live? Am I ready to stop seeing my past as something that happened to me and start seeing it as something that happened for me? Am I ready to use everything I have endured as the foundation for my greatest purpose? Because the truth is, you were never just another person trying to make sense of your suffering. You were always a chosen one, and now the only thing left to do is rise.